Okay, I'm Jody Kahn. I don't know that I have a real theme here, but 7 definitely struck a chord with me. 7 was my favorite number in basketball jerseys and softball jerseys and sports that I played, so 7 was an important number. And like Ian, music's very important. And I saw how important that was when I substitute taught for my brother, who has a first grade class. I could see that they were getting really restless and bored with what they were doing. So I resorted to what I, like Ian said, you have to, when you're self-exploding, or what's the word? Anyway, exploding, you have to come up with alternatives. So he had a CD of songs, and they love this. They love songs. So I would like you guys to follow along with this. How do we do the volume?
Days of the week, days of the week, days of the week, days of the week.
So I was trying to teach him this. No clue.
There's Monday, there's Tuesday, and there's Wednesday, there's Thursday, and there's Friday, and then there's Saturday. Days of the week,
They're dancing around. They're
days of the
loving
week,
it.
days of the week, days of the week, days of the week.
So that gives you an idea. Dr. Jean, Jean, I highly recommend them. They give you the days of the week, the months of the year, just funny songs, the nursery rhymes. I mean, she is wonderful. And I haven't found a song that she does yet that doesn't engage her students. So it's great for kindergarten, first, second, third, maybe even fourth grade. Okay, so that's my strategy number 1, is using singing to help encode memorization and information with the students. So Schoolhouse Rock was another example that Dixie gave to us, I believe. So the second strategy that I have is developing a reward and consequence system in your class. As we know, classroom management is, I've been substitute teaching for 2 years, and I know that classroom management is the most important thing for student learning. If you don't have that, you don't have anything. And I like to focus on the positive. One of the things, and this is credit to Janine Kelly, she teaches health. You can use this. This is an example of a class kind of reward system. If kids are really good at assemblies, or during PE, or during music, or something that's outside of the regular classroom, what you can do, and you can use something less expensive than gumballs. I use these. Dollar Store is wonderful, by the way. But you can use popcorn, you can use beans. I even saw this used at a middle school at Billinghurst, where a teacher would, evaluate each of her class periods each day. And the best class, who was most attentive, on task, gave the best answers, that kind of thing, she would give them a scoop of beans every day. And the class that got to the top, to the line, whichever class got to the top, got a pizza party. But as Janine Kelly pointed out, you can do a lot of things that don't cost you any money that kids absolutely love. You can give the class a free recess. You can give them a movie. You can give them free time. So those are all things as teachers that don't cost us anything, yet the kids highly value those. So that's a great system for giving class rewards. You can give kids, I've seen this over at Roland Melton, where they give out dough to students for turning in homework, consistent, attendance, having no absences. All these different things that they do, they get dough, and they just make copies of Monopoly money. They give that out, and at the end of the month, the students are able to buy things. Now, these teachers are really smart. There's a couple 4th grade teachers who do this, where they ask the parents to send in things that would be like garage sale items. Things, stuffed animals, games, student supplies. And then the kids can buy those things for certain dollar amounts based on the dough that they receive during the month. So that's really effective. And again, that doesn't cost the teacher any money. Consequence systems. I like to use this as a last resort, but my brother, he's a 1st grade teacher, and he's also taught 2nd and 5th grade, I believe. He has 3 on the board. He has 3 strike systems. It's strike 1, strike 2, strike 3. Strike 1, you get a warning. just merely a warning. He writes, and he does it very discreetly. You know, it's not like he makes a scene in the middle of the class. He just goes up and writes the student's name. So that's strike one. Strike two is the student misses recess, and strike three is the student misses recess and they call the parents or the caregivers during the recess. Let me tell you, very few kids get to strike three. Even he doesn't even, by 2 or 3 months into class, he doesn't even use the strike system. Kids, he's already got a routine established. So establishing routines is very important because it gets kids used to how the classroom operates, and then you have very little need to do the consequence. But if you do, it's there, they see it, and they respond very quickly to it. So, and I had to use it in his class because they weren't used to me, a new face, and it was new in the school year. And I really had kids respond very quickly and behave very quickly after I had to write their name on strike one. Okay, journal writing. Journal writing is really important because, and make sure you emphasize that it's not graded. It allows kids to express their ideas without being graded, without being judged. But a lot of times it can allow you to it can let you know if there's problems with that child that you need to discuss with the child. It's their way of letting you know there's something going on in my life that you need. And if you develop those meaningful relationships with kids, they're going to tell you. Even if they can't come to you personally, they may tell you in a journal. Now these, I mean, you can get these at the dollar store. If you have a Title I school or where the kids aren't and you're willing to invest $15 to $20, depending on your class size, you can buy these for them. Or you can have the kids, if you're at a more affluent school, you can have them bring them in. Or even better yet, in the first couple of years when we're really poor and trying to repay our student loans, you can just make them. Have them decorate them. You can bind them. You can, okay, so that's you know, a free way to have them do a journal writing. But it's a really good way to find out if there's any problems with your students that you need to address, because we know that social and personal things are just as important as the education for their students. Let's see. Oh, I love this. This is an alternative to tabula rasa, the blank tablet or the t-shirt. Try this with your students. And it's what shoe describes you. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want the kids, you're going to give them an example of what one of them represents. What do we think this one represents, Ian?
Hiking.
Hiking, what else? Marcia?
Just outdoors.
Outdoors. Suzanne?
Athletic.
Athletic. Christine?
Woodsy.
Woodsy. So liking adventure, liking the outdoors, hiking. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take, and you want to make sure they're pretty diverse. This, I wanted a cowboy boot, but this is the best I got. So, because younger kids may not know that this is a rope or that this is a cowboy boot, so you probably want a cowboy boot. But what you're going to do is you're going to place them around the room. And you're going to say, okay, based on these shoes, what they represent to you, I want you to, when I say go, I want you guys to go to the different shoe that represents you most. Now, for me, this represents me, well, all of these, because almost all of them are mine, except for this one. And this one, this is my daughter's. So these all represent me. But pick the one that most represents who you are, okay? And then once you get there, you're going to have the group that ends up at that shoe discuss what they have in common. Why did they go to that shoe? It's really a good way, especially younger kids, for them to verbalize things that they like to do, things that they represents who they are. And it's a good example, it's a similarity to the tabula rasa. Then, if you have time permitting, you can actually, once they do that, you can have them go to the second shoe that represents them. So they meet a whole different group of students. So it's a good way for us to have kids learn who they are and similarities, and celebrate the similarities that are in students. So like I said, you can have them go to the first shoe and then go to the second shoe that represents who they are. And they talk with those students, and then as Dixie has, we have them share as a group what they found or similarities with their group.